Hello, everybody. This is actually my third live stream today. The reason for that is I was doing my first one and I got interrupted by a telemarketer. Telemarketer called and it just screwed the whole thing up. So I wanted to talk today about lust mainly. And it's one thing that we don't really take much stock in and think about much because, well, it's just accepted in our society. I have one friend. I have a lot of friends, but only one who has been successful in his marriage for more than 10 years. That's not including me. I've been married for almost 20 years, but these days society tells us that we need to follow our passions, follow our dreams, follow what we feel is what we desire pretty much. We follow these desires, and lust plays a big part of it. Lust is actually the root of all evil, all corruption, all of our problems, all of the world wars probably started somewhere with lust. Now, the greed and hunger for power does play a big part in it, but it is all tied back to lust. People want to rule. People want to have their desires fulfilled, no matter the cost. You know, when you get to the higher levels of politics and corruption, then you get to just sickening levels of corruption. You really do. But hey, it's me, Mario. Hey, sir, how you doing? I'm talking today about whatever you guys want to talk about. I put lust on there because I figured lust and unfaithfulness and heartbreak and all those great things is something that is really bothering a lot of people. I know in different ways that we don't understand sometimes. We have adult content online, and that adult content, which the thing I'm not allowed to say on YouTube, rhymes with horn. That adult content is just eating our society alive. It has sickened our society so much that really anything goes now. And we are all sinners and we all should love everyone as we love ourselves. But when we look at the LGBTQ community, we have a problem there that is unique to any other sin. Of course, they don't consider it sin. They consider it love, but it is just desire, because you can have a same-sex relationship without the sex, and it's perfectly fine. It is the lust that starts to corrupt everything. And the lust gets there. I did some, I didn't do, I looked at some studies on this about how online adult content just eats away at people's morality. And what I've found was, as we watch adult content online, it gets progressively more and more disturbing, more and more. It takes more and more to turn us on. It takes more and more to get us off. It takes more and more to fulfill those desires. So we keep going deeper and deeper into darker and darker stuff until anything goes. And I mean anything. We live in a world where, for the longest time, and they still want to, but they've kind of slowed down on it, want to affirm even they call it child loving people. I forget what they call it. You know, it's something like that. They try to make it sound minor attracted people, MAPS, minor attracted people. They try to make it sound innocent. They try to make it sound harmless. Like, oh, it's just love. It's just desire. You can't deny someone's desire. That is absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. But how do we get to this place? Because we are affirming everything. It was the same way in the Roman Empire back in the days of Christ. You know, we had, you look at history, and I've studied the Roman Empire not extensively, but quite a bit. It was just anything goes. And they didn't even care. They didn't even care. They just accepted the fact that children were being used as slaves in that way. They just accepted the fact that they had these big group activities. Not allowed to say that word on here either. Rhymes with smorgies. Let's see what you guys are up to. I don't even know if you guys don't want to talk about that, that's fine. I just figured get it started with that. Kick it off with some good old fashioned lust, right? Why not? I've been called cute so many times on here. I'm starting to looking into male modeling. Hey, Mario, I'm still trying to find my calling. That's a good one. Okay, we can work with that. Finding your calling. So, is that like what you're supposed to do in your life? Is that, or are you being called spiritually, like you're being called to God, and you're just trying to work through that because you feel the beckoning, but you haven't yet figured out what is really happening. You know, you kind of hear that voice in the distance calling you, and it's faint, but it calls you. But your calling in life, man, when I was a young adult, I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I was so terrified. And that was actually when I was in really good shape. I was a bodybuilder and just in like, almost Navy SEAL type shape, although I couldn't swim for that long, hold my breath underwater. But I was terrified. I wanted to be a writer, but I really wasn't very good at it. It wasn't very inspired writing. So I was just like, what am I going to do? But I had no real skills except for I was strong. I could do manual labor, but I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. And I just got lucky that one of my friends offered me to go on a job interview, and I got the job for a computer technician for a gas station. And it was like basically a management position almost, like right off the bat. And I don't know how I got it because I had zero experience. I literally am probably one of the worst at computers and technology, but I just trained myself to do it. But see, I was not happy in that job, but it still gave me purpose because I was providing for my family, and that's all I thought I had to do. I didn't think, oh, we're not even supposed to be happy in life. We're not supposed to be, which again, we're not really going for happiness. We're going for meaning in life. But I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And these days, nobody seems to know, just like I didn't, what they're supposed to do. Because we put an emphasis on, going after your dreams. So we all want to be athletes, rock stars, celebrities, you name it, things like this. But we have to find what our talents are, what we're good at. And sometimes we have to explore that, different jobs, fail at different jobs maybe, until we finally find what we are good at. And then the most important thing is finding our connection with God. It really is, because that brings everything together. There's I think I said it last night. There's an old quote. It's don't follow your dreams, let your dreams follow you. But I add on to the end of that, don't let your dreams, don't follow your dreams, let your dreams follow you while you are following Christ. And that is the most important thing. when you have a relationship with God, you no longer go where you want to go. You no longer do what you want to do. You go where God leads you, and you are happy about it. And it sounds like something we're completely against, especially in this society. Like, what are you talking about? Somebody else is going to make our destiny for us, but I want to make my own destiny. I want to pave my own way, make my mark on the world. God will guide you to make that mark in the way that you are supposed to. And you find when you have that relationship with him, it's natural. It feels like this is what I'm supposed to do. And it just seems like everything fits into place. I never, ever in my wildest dreams thought I would be on YouTube doing these videos. I was a horrible speaker even before I was disabled. Then I had the social anxiety, which just killed my confidence completely, killed my ability. My speaking ability was always pretty awful. But then you tell me I was going to do a YouTube channel on spirituality and on God, and I would be like, what are you smoking? Come on, pass me some, what are you smoking over there? But I just went where God led me. I went where he led me. Of course, I didn't have a whole lot of other options, but I didn't do this to get a job. I'm still not getting really paid for it that much. $100 here and there every other month or something. But I promise you, it is the most fulfilling and the most meaningful job, you want to call it that, you will ever do when you follow God where you're supposed to go. Now, I don't know if this is what I'm going to do for a living or whatever. I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to do long term. All I know is it's where God wants me right now. And so I'm going to do the best I can with it right now. I'm going to try to get through these as fast as I can because I'll take as much time as I need to, but I know I get so far behind that I miss a lot of comments at the end. Movie Short Society, couldn't agree more. Amen, Movie Shorts. Great to see you. Burgers, go watch mid-90s movie. It's about gangster skaters and an 11-year-old boy. Oh, man. I don't even want to know that. Dan Oberg, same-sex marriage is not cool. Yeah, and I've always been libertarian about it. I don't care what people do. It doesn't affect me. The problem I didn't understand with it at first was that it was going to be pushed so hard in society. Like, I can't turn on TV, even something for my daughter or something like that, without seeing like LGBTQ propaganda pushed hardcore. My children had the craziest books at their school for the longest time. They got rid of them a couple years ago, thankfully, showing graphic depictions of two males. One was overage and one was underage. So it's the problem was people were fighting to keep these books in there. They're saying, why won't you keep these books in there? What are you doing? It's absolutely insane what our society's come to. As long as it's pushing an agenda they want it in there. They're not going to have Hustler in there. They're not going to have, Playboy in there. They're going to have that in there. It's just fine. It's teaching kids how to be who they really are. No, it's teaching kids to be part of a cult-like mentality, because that's what it is. I don't care what our lust, even if it's for people of the opposite sex, is going to destroy you. It is the root of all of our sins. It is the foundation of all the sins. And you go back to, just about every story in the Bible, and you're seeing the same theme over and over. You go back to any theme in history, you're seeing that even though you have to trace it back pretty hard in some cases, you're seeing lust as being a major factor in all the world's problems. Let's see here. Burgers, same-sex marriage is cool. Not for me, but more power to the people that do. Again, I do not care what people do in their bedroom. I do not care. But now I'm seeing it, and I see it a lot. I get on a lot of Christianity, different spaces online and stuff just to check them out. And I see, oh man, the Christianity subreddit is a hotbed for, they call themselves progressive Christians, right? They are pushing every single church and trying to shame every single church if they do not affirm LGBTQ, if they say anything about it. So they have to leave out all these sections of the Bible because it could be harmful. And they're saying that it could lead people to want to harm themselves. Now, I understand there have been a lot of instances where Christians have used scripture to be abusive to LGBTQ people, but that is twisting the scriptures. Nowhere at all in the Bible does Jesus say to harm anyone, especially a sinner. He's there for sinners. He knows we're all sinners, and we are all sinners. It's not about that. It's about, if I'm an adulterer, or if I'm a thief, I do not go into a church and say, fly my flag, and you better affirm my sin, or I am going to raise hell. I'm going to get a group to come and protest outside of your church. I'm going to just, and they have the power behind them to do it. That's the problem. And the people are scared of them. Like advertisers will all fly the flags, and the White House was flying the flag, and it's become so ingrained in society. And again, I love people who are gay. I love people who are, I'm called to love everyone, and I do, but that does not mean to stop speaking the truth. That is where people do not understand. We are not supposed to stop speaking the truth. If it's in society pushed so hardcore, you just have to completely cut yourself off from society to not get exposed to it. You not have your kids exposed to it, which you just gotta. What are you gonna say when you're trying to teach them a moral foundation? No, it's fine. You do what your desires lead you to do all the time. Not saying that you shouldn't love your children if your children end up being gay or whatever. The T word that I cannot say also on YouTube because, again, the censorship. But it's a hard one. It really is. And it's something that's unique to our time, which is wild. And we have to navigate these waters for sure. Let's see. This world is on a planet friend. Not and on a planet friend. Okay. Dan Oberg, it's illegal and unnatural. It's not illegal, and I don't want it to be illegal. Of course, it is unnatural, but every sin is unnatural. So I'm not putting it above like many of the sins for sure. But lust in general is absolutely the root. You have okay, so the Apostle Paul, he writes on it a lot. He says, "Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you, sexual immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry." Oh, this is a good one. 1 Corinthians 6:18. Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexual immoral person sins against his own body. That is something you have to understand. An intimate sexual relationship with someone is something that is supposed to be based on true love and connection, and lust takes over. It really does. Lust takes over. I don't care if, like I said, you're looking at adult content online. I don't care if it's any kind of lust. It is going to destroy you. And I don't mean to pick on, like I said, the LGBTQ, because that is just one small part of it. And it is highlighted in our society. For some reason, it is celebrated. You know, the pride celebrations. Okay, I don't want violence against these people, but the violence against them has basically not been a factor for at least 10 years, maybe longer, maybe 15. That's not the point. It is the pride celebrations. You have literally not even half naked men and women exposing themselves to young children, and people celebrating this. You have the drag shows where it's little kids in there. And don't tell me it doesn't happen, because it does, because it's been taped on so many times. And what is the drag queen story hour? What is this? Come on. Whoever is thinking this is good for society, you need to seriously step back and be honest with yourself. I don't care if you are gay or the T word or whatever. You need to step back and say, is this good for society? And if you can justify in your mind it being good for society, reading in drag to young kids who are like, what is going on here? What is this? It's I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Salami gotcha. My boy stacked. I still am, but I haven't really worked out. I haven't lifted weights in 15 years, brother. Burgers, it's unnatural, not illegal, but some states, yes. But if a woman loves another woman or a dude loves a dude, whose business is it other than theirs? Right, yeah. I don't want it to be illegal, and I don't want them to be denied rights as far as visiting loved ones in hospitals or things like that. But I do not, it goes too far. See, the pendulum always swings. So you have the story of the cake maker, right? And I think it was Denver, Colorado, somewhere. They forced him to make, or they were trying to force him to make a gay wedding cake. He said, no, it is against my religion. I can't do that. He was offering them to buy any of the already made cakes in there, or have a cake that didn't specifically talk about their gay marriage. But no, they demanded that he make the gay wedding cake. And I was like, so what are you going to have, some people who identify with the 1930s and 40s Germany coming in there and saying, you need to make me a cake because I demand it, because it's who I am? What if it's really who they identify as? I mean, what if you're going to marry your dog? You really love your dog. You want to marry you. And you go in there and demand they make you. It is wild. It is wild, the stuff that is going on. It really is. Important is food, water, and sunlight, bro. So then show how good you can drift. Burgers, it's not my business. I am not gay. Oh man, come on. Let's see. All right. Don't fight about it. I'm not here to start a fight between people. I'm not trying to demonize anyone because that is the last thing I want to do. I want I want you to be able to go to churches for sure. And the thing is, when you go into a church, you're not asking them to affirm your sins. You're not asking them, you're going into a church, which is supposed to be a hospital for sinners. You're going in there because you need medical help, spiritual medical help. That spiritual help is surgery. It is not supposed to be affirming. It is not supposed to. Christianity is all about denying the flesh, denying our desires. Once you step away from the flesh, you start learning who you really are, what your life really means. And so when you're in there, you don't go in saying, I have cancer, but you better affirm that cancer instead of, you're going to cut out this cancer for me, or we're going to work on cutting it out. We're going to get treatment for this cancer. And it is just an ignorance of how a relationship with Christ works. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be, again, if you're not Christian, and if you are privately doing this, or whatever, I do not care. I do not care. It is when you are pushing it into spaces that you are demanding everyone else affirm it. And I get it. There are small-minded people who do not understand, who will abuse their children or abuse others. But that is not happening anymore. That is, our society's swung so far the other way. In fact, there are cases where the LGBTQ people are the ones who are bullies. They are the ones who are bullying others, because that is like the cool kids club now. It's like a badge of honor. You see people who have, there was one lady, and I think it might have been one of the Disney, I think it was one of the, like, Walt Disney's great granddaughter or granddaughter or something. She had 3 children who were all the Transformer. 3. That's statistically almost impossible, astronomically almost impossible. It's not going to happen unless you are pushing that. They are pushing it. Places like California, LA especially, or San Francisco, they push it on their kid. They want their kids. They're cheering for their kids to be gay or in that community. It's not something you're born as. It's not. It's something that your experience in life shapes you as. But even, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even if you're straight, even if you're going to have some kind of sin. And the whole point of having a spiritual relationship with Christ is that you deny everything of your flesh. You deny all of your dreams, all of your passions. You deny that, because he is giving you something far beyond that. He's giving you meaning in life far beyond what your dreams, or what you think your dreams are, would ever lead you to. I don't know if any of you have ever achieved a dream or a goal, and how you felt great right after. And then after that, you're like, well, I still feel empty. I still feel like unsatisfied. And then you have to go on to something bigger, and it get bigger and bigger. And I remember somebody doing an interview with, I think his name was Chad Duke, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And he was an astronaut who went on one of the last moon missions. And he said that he had dreamed his whole life of going to the moon. And then he got back. He did it finally. He wasn't one of the big celebrities like the first ones there, like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. But he gets back, and he is just empty in life, and he's thinking, what now? I've accomplished the only goal I've had in my life, the biggest dream I've ever had, and I'm empty. So nothing, I know nothing now will give me meaning, give me purpose in life. And then a pastor, uh, I guess he met a pastor somehow. I don't remember the exact story. He went into the church, and for the first time in his life, he said he found meaning when he was reading part of a gospel, doing a sermon. He found his meaning in life. He found fulfillment in life. And since that day, he'd been an alcoholic. He was abusing, and he was cheating on his wife. He was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, just trying to escape the empty feeling he had. And then he just found God, and God saved him, which is the only thing that will save you in life. The only thing. I'm telling you, we chase all these things. We think all these things are going to make us so happy. God is the only thing that fills us up. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go past. Okay, Grace King. I have a question. If my guy friend has started to text me good morning and good night, does he like me as more than a friend? Most likely, if you have a guy friend, he likes you more than a friend. I'm just telling you that. Guys have a single single aim mind. It really is it's now there are exceptions, of course. I mean, there are some. I grew up with a bunch of athletes and really good looking guys. I was the ugly one of the bunch, even when I was in good shape. And I'm telling you, we all have a single aim mind. And it's hard to break out of that. It really is, especially in our culture, because we all just sit and think about sex nonstop. We do, especially when we're in our teens and 20s and into our 30s, really. Into our 30s, then it starts to change a little. We still have it, but it starts to graduate into, oh, now we're starting to understand there's something else in life except for chasing women and fulfilling our sexual desires. Grace, it's just good manners. Oh, wow. Let's see. Let's see here. I'm going to try to. Yeah, I don't know why I would say he's gay. He, trust me, he most likely has an interest in you. Guys and girls can be friends without having that sexual attraction, but there always is that undertone in that relationship. There always is. There always is. And it's just something that it's primal. It really is. Our flesh leads us to that. It's thousands and thousands of years of that desire in a primal nature. And then as civilization started getting more advanced and more sophisticated, then it was just we had to hide it in different ways and had to be gentlemen about it and be slick in ways about it, really. But there is always that. And if it's I don't know your all's relationship, Grace, but if it's a good looking guy and he has a lot of friends that are girls, then I'd be suspicious of that. I really would. Tyler Hartman, very wise. CEO, do you believe in Jesus? Yes, I do, CEO. Do you? Joshua Thompson, y'all need to stop projecting your own shame onto LGBTQ. No, you don't understand. I am not projecting anything onto LGBTQ. I have friends and close family who are LGBTQ. I do. And I grew up with my wife. She hung out with nothing but LGBTQ. She drugged me to gay bars and stuff with her. So I was, you know, I was really into her at the time. I was doing whatever she wanted to, but it is not that. It is not. You're missing the point entirely. I'm not telling anyone to go out and be ignorant, be jerks to them, to even tell them, no, you're wrong, it's a sin. I'm saying when you go to a church, this is the biggest problem I see. It's called progressive Christianity. They demand that LGBTQ, any issue of that, all the scriptures be washed away and ignored because it is absolutely love. It is not lust. It is not a sin. It is always natural to them. And when you get into society and you get into, it's literally in every single show. It's every single show, every single movie. You go back into the 90s and you had, a rare case of it, and usually you had to go looking for it. But now you have it in things like Bluey, the kids show. You have it in, oh man, what was the last one I was watching with my kid? Oh yeah, the Anna Green Gables thing on Netflix, which it's a good show, but of course they had to put a huge gay storyline in there because they have to push it all the time, all the time. You need to find your happiness within yourself and stop blaming others for your pain. Love yourself and your neighbor. We are sinners, yo. We are absolutely all sinners, and it is no different other than the fact that it is the sin that demands to be affirmed. We don't see Bluey going out and saying, you should be, following your lust everywhere for sure. You don't see Bluey affirming any other sin. And when you are living as a Christian, it's fine if you want to go and have your own little private Christian religion. That is fine. Do not try to spread it into other Christian religions. And we have major Christian denominations who are now affirming flying gay flags. And the number one thing as Christians is we are supposed to deny ourselves, pick up the cross daily, and Christ should be our only identity. Our only identity. And all I see are LGBTQ allies or the just nonstop. It is references to it nonstop. Let's see. Joeski, is it a hot dog a sandwich? Yes. I've thought about that extensively, and yes, it is a sandwich. Mike Miller, yes, sir. Joshua Thompson, you are your own God. That is the original sin. That is the problem. We are not our own God at all. At all. If we do not want to make a sacrifice, I'm here mainly to lead people out of their darkness. And Christ was the only light in my darkness, which I did not want it. I did not want to be a Christian. I did not. I was absolutely for just doing whatever you want, and I will always leave everyone to do what they want to do in their private lives. But then it spreads into every aspect of society. And children are confused, and children don't understand. I have to have with my 7-year-old a conversation about what does gay mean? What does this and that mean? What does transformer mean? It's a sick, fallen society, not because those are sick people, but because I don't want to be having that conversation about straight sexuality. I don't want to be having that conversation at all with a 7-year-old yet. Why do you have to push it in children's material? Why do you have to push it in reading, having a drag queen read to kids during story hour? Why do you have to push that? I get it. You don't want people treating you differently. Then stop pushing it into every aspect. Stop shoving it down everyone's throat. It is not good for society. And if you think it's good, explain how it's good for society at all. At all. Because it's not. It really isn't. We are not our own God. That is literally the original sin. Satan said to Adam and Eve, eat of the forbidden fruit, and you will be your own God. You will have the knowledge of God. And every sin after that is humans thinking we are our own God. We are not. Let's see. Joshua, find your strength within yourself, not some imaginary being. You are the power, but you have to practice. You are so wrong. So wrong. When you go to, all right, Joshua, are you an atheist then, or are you just you just think that God is within all of us? That's the thing. It's just we are all our own gods, or is there not a creator of everything? Is there not? I don't know what I'd like to know what your thinking is on it. Your beliefs are. Young. Oh, hey, City by the Bay, how you doing? I'm doing great, brother. I am in a topic, and I have to admit I do not like talking about it. I do not like it at all. I did, because it does always lead back to LGBTQ. It does, and I did a couple videos on LGBTQ a long time ago. It's probably been like 4 or 5 months ago, maybe longer, maybe like 6 months ago. And like people got so mad at me. People got so mad. And I wasn't saying anything bad about them, because I was saying we all have desires. We are all sinners, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I was talking about how it's being affirmed in churches now. And when you're asking churches to deny scripture, and you are asking churches you're demanding churches change all this stuff up. Just cut out all these verses about lust, and especially about LGBTQ issues, and just go with God is love, and that's it. You are missing the deepest connection you will ever have, the most profound spiritual connection you will ever have, because you want to deny it for your flesh. Denying your flesh altogether is the way to understanding who God is and having that deep relationship. And you will be transformed. You will find purpose, love, and meaning in your life, and peace in your life like you've never understood before. You will. And I know you just said hello. I didn't mean to put it on you, City by the Bay. I just, it's an area I still do not like, and somehow I always have to come back to that when I'm doing stuff on lust. It just naturally goes there. Jay McCarthy, hey, how's it going? Can you preach a sermon barefoot? Absolutely. I would go barefoot all the time. A lot of the places I walk are like sharp rocks, though, so I don't. I've thought about going barefoot hiking around here, but we live in an ancient fault line, and there is a lot of very jagged rocks everywhere. City by the Bay, the biggest challenge I made this year was cut off almost every friend. They were only bringing me down. It sucks being lonely, but thankful for Jesus. Yeah, you're gonna have you're gonna have that problem. Even Jesus had the problem of the people that he grew up with, the people that knew him growing up. He said a prophet. He's talking about. I wish I remember the verse of it. He went back to his hometown, and none of them took him seriously, even though he was healing people and performing these miracles. And he was like, okay, I just can't do any more here because these people would just treat me like no one wants someone younger than them or someone they grew up with to be in a position of authority at all over them. So, but it's not even about authority. It's about when you decide to lead a life that is seeking God, and it could be even before you decide Christianity, or even if you don't decide Christianity, you're going to have to make sacrifices if you're being serious about it. If you don't make sacrifices, you're not serious at all about it. You're just being your own God, like we were saying. And your friends who maybe you partied with all the time, you were having a good time smoking pot constantly, because that's all me and my friends did, all of them. And so when you no longer do that, then it's like they don't want anything to do with you. Because I tell the story, I've told it like the last 2 or 3 live streams, how we used to have friends we had this one friend in particular, and every like 6 months probably, he would say, I'm gonna stop drinking and doing any kind of drugs and go back to church and start cleaning myself up and taking my life serious for once. And we would all just laugh at him and mock him and shame him. And usually he'd just like, yeah, you're right. What was I thinking? Or sometimes he would be gone for like a week or so, and then he'd be back. And I'm telling you, when you're burning in hell, when you're miserable in your life, and we didn't think we were miserable in life. We thought we were living the high life, just partying all the time like that, just doing whatever we wanted to. And we had a lot of fun, but we were being devoured by life. We were spiritually dead inside. And that is something you can't see when you're in the midst of it a lot of times. And then your friends, they mock you if you have drinking buddies. They're going to mock you if you stop drinking, because they don't want to stop drinking. They have no desire to stop drinking. And so they think that now you're saying, I'm better than you because I'm going to stop drinking. No, they act like that. What it is they are pushing their corruption onto their darkness onto you. They want you to sit there and burn with them. They absolutely do. Keisha, thank you for speaking out. I you are very welcome. I confess I do not like speaking out against this, because again, I grew up going to, my wife drugged me to gay bars. Let's see, I have at least 3 friends who are 2 that are gay and one's bi. One of my best friends is bisexual. He just decided he was bisexual because he's so lost in life. He just doesn't know what he's doing, and he kind of did it as a tribal thing. He didn't really want any limitations on anything in his life. He wanted to basically fit in with a group, and the group that he wanted to fit in with was in basically sexually open to anything, and anything goes, and those people, I'm telling you, and I don't know if people understand how serious it gets. Because when you live that kind of lifestyle, and I'm not saying just a gay lifestyle, I know many happily, or people who were gay who ended up very happy in life. I'm talking about just sexually letting your lust drive you around, whether it's straight or gay. you're going to be corrupted. And most of the people I know who were in that group, only my friend was I was friends with, of the people in that group that he hung out with. Most of the people, unfortunately, took their own lives because they were so lost and their lives were so meaningless. And it starts there, and it starts with that confusion. It starts, you have to get back to the root of your problems. Usually that's not the root of your problem. That's another symptom of your problems, but it makes it so much worse when you start going down these roads of just letting your lust lead you around. And I think that almost even worse, maybe the worst thing, is online adult content, which I can't say on the name of it on here, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The thing that rhymes with horn. It will devour you. And I didn't think there was a damn problem with it at all. I thought it's what every guy does because we have smartphones now. That's what it's for. And even before smartphones, even the lower speed internets, I would sit there for hours trying to load up a video or a picture. I'm like, come on now. And then it'd be one that wasn't any good. And I'm like, oh man, I sat here for 4 hours waiting for this. It's so disturbing. When you have that at the tips of your fingers, it is eating you alive, and you don't even understand it. You don't understand. That is supposed to be the most intimate part of any relationship. And what it does is, when you do have a relationship, or when you're trying to find one, if you can't find one, it's going to just destroy it. It eats it alive. And it started to destroy mine. That was just one of the many problems I had. But I've seen it too many times. I have. Okay. Put a hot dog in a microwave, then eat it with a broken spork in a dirty bathtub. Sounds like a good Thursday night to me, right? Raymond, okay, having it being against your religion is just wrong. Gay marriage is okay, but don't demand if it's against their religion. Yeah. I mean, but it goes more than just the churches is where it's the only reason I did the original video that I did on it. And I got, a lot of support, but a lot of hate for. It is when I started to see that all of these different churches are just affirming it now. And it is, we are denying truth. And it's not just that. We deny truth of all kinds in this society. We make our own reality. That is what the progressive kind of leftist movement is. We create our own reality. It is all about me, me, me. We are our own gods. We are led around by our flesh, and it is corruption that follows. It is. And I know what it sounds like, because I'm older now, and I've been married for a while now, and it's, oh, this guy doesn't have to deal with life anymore because he doesn't have to deal with dating or all this crap. And it's true. But man, I hit rock bottom, and I started to learn that none of this stuff even really mattered. None of my desires, none of my dreams, none of my hopes, they didn't matter, because they were all built on this things of this world. And we don't really take into account that God is even real when we're young, because we are absolutely, in our 20s especially, 20s and 30s, early 30s at least, we are all thinking that we are our own man or woman. We are led around by whatever our dreams are and whatever our goals are. And if we don't have some great claim to fame, like let's say we decide to be a plumber, then we are looked at as almost like a second-class citizen, when really the plumbers and people who are doing jobs like that are the ones who end up being millionaires and living in the nice houses and making all the good money because nobody wants to do these jobs anymore. We all want the fame. We all want to hit it big time, man. How many movies and shows have you watched where it's somebody in a small town and they all have like simple lives and doing these like, simple type jobs or on a farm or like I said, a plumber or having a family business. And man, that person is just like, my life would be hell. My life would be hell if I had to live in this place any longer. I need to escape this town and these people who have no dreams and desires in life. They're just living an uninspired life. But you don't understand. Your dreams, I don't care what they are, if they are not of a higher nature, like I mean aiming towards understanding the meaning of life and things like this, they're going to devour you. They're going to devour you. We all worship something, even if we're atheists. And this atheist writer, David Foster Wallace, wrote in one of his greatest books, Infinite Jest, he said, we all worship something. If that something is not God, it will devour us. If it's something that's finite, if we worship money, we'll never have enough money. We'll always be working for more and more and more, ignoring all the rest of the things in our lives. If that thing is fame, we'll never be famous enough. We'll always think we're not good enough or unworthy, or we'll think we're too good, and it'll just collapse in on us. If we, and this is one that I added, if we worship relationships, I'm talking even the greatest relationships you have. So I'll give you an example. And I told this story earlier, and I apologize to all if anybody's here again. I was hopeless, purposeless, and really loveless. Even though I was married, me and my wife were both miserable. We didn't have kids. We didn't think we were going to be able to have kids, but we were blessed with having kids. I was disabled, so I have constant pain in my back and leg. I went through deaths, people taking their own lives. I went through, 2 miscarriages between the 2 children we do have. I went through, all kinds of, pets dying. That's it sometimes hurts worse than, family members. But depending on the family member, if it's like a cousin or something. I went through non-stop tragedy and trauma and suffering. And when my wife had our first baby girl, I thought, this is finally my meaning in life, to be a father, to love this girl. And then I realized, oh no, I am putting all my expectations onto her. So I remember how hard it was for me to find my way in life, but now I'm putting my expectations onto her. So if she grows up with me acting like this, and she fails in life or stumbles in life, then she's not just hurting herself. She has me living vicariously through her. And now I'm going to put that weight on her. So what was I being? Not a loving father, not a good father. I was being an anchor, pulling them down further and further into the pits of hell where I was living. That is how, and then the same thing goes with a loved, let's say you have a wife or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a parent, that you put that relationship, you make that the reason for living. What if they die tomorrow? What if they betray you? What if they cheat on you? What if they leave you? It doesn't matter what. You could get lucky, you could, but chances are something's going to happen and that relationship is going to fail you too. Unless you worship God, unless you find a relationship, and I mean, God does talk to you. God lets you know who he is. It's not just some unknown, unseen thing like spaghetti monster sky daddy, like atheists always say. If you all know my testimony, and I don't, I have to tell it every single time because you have to understand how low I was and then how God transformed me and how he spoke to me. So I told you how I suffered that much. And then my parents, who were my pillars, who supported me through 13 years of being disabled and, lending me money when I needed it because I was always struggling to pay my bills. I was getting sick sometimes because I couldn't keep up with the bills. And then my dad had a heart attack and my mom had a stroke and she was paralyzed. And so I hit rock bottom finally. And I went out to the woods and I prayed for the first time in 20 some years since I was a little kid talking to God. And I genuinely prayed for the first time really in my life, my adult life. And I said, God, if you could just show me a way out of this, some kind of sign, some kind of guidance, I will give you my life. Not thinking there was a chance in hell. I wasn't looking for the Christian God. I wasn't looking for anything except for the truth. And I wasn't expecting anything, but I prayed and I prayed for real. I wasn't just going through the motions like, oh God, thanks a lot. You're so good to me. Give thanks to you. No, I was desperate for a way out. Not even 10 minutes later, I was walking along a lake shore and I hear something running through the woods. I look over. It is a white-tailed doe. She stops at the edge of the lake shore. She bows her head, lets me walk over and start petting her. And then she comes down and walks alongside of me, literally on my hip most of the time, right beside me for about an hour and a half. And before I left that day, she went into the lake about chest deep into the water. It had been a calm day. The wind started to howl the direction she was gazing into the horizon. It started to howl from that way. And since that moment, despite constant pain, despite living above the poverty line, despite constant tragedy, I have not suffered once. My peace has been unshakable. I had wisdom I never learned. Everything changed. Everything. And so I have to tell that story every time because some people who haven't been here, for you to understand that God is not just some imaginary friend, something we scared of going to hell and that possibility, so we've got to be good. He gives you meaning. He brings you heaven on this earth. He gives you everything. Hello, B Patrol. How are you? Greetings and salutations. Okay. Let's see. Nobody. Hello. You keep coming up on my algorithm. I'm listening. I'm thankful for that, nobody. I hope I'm telling you something that makes you at least think or helps you maybe in your life. If not, then I hope you get to laugh at how I look like Shrek with a beard, or or somebody said a garden gnome who's eaten too much. But I appreciate it so much. I do. Dakota Miller. What songs do you sing? Oh man, it's sad, but the songs I sing the most are Frozen and Moana songs because those are the songs I sang to my kids, my two little girls when they were very young, and I also sang them Silent Night and Amazing Grace. Even before I was a Christian, I would sing that to them because those songs they were always beautiful to me, and I love them. But as far as actual music, and not stuff I can actually sing well, I listen to classic rock. I listen to alternative rock. I listen to pretty much everything. I mean, to a certain extent, country. If it's good music, it's good music. Um, B, that's a generalization. Women think about it just as much as men. I don't disagree with you there, B Patrol. Um, but I think it's a different. I think it is different. I really do. And now to get into those differences, okay, yeah, but yeah, women are led around by lust too. Absolutely, women are out cheating on men, probably even more so than men because they can easily do it. Think about how hard it is for men to go out and just have a hookup with somebody compared to a woman. I mean, a woman, you're at least semi attractive. You go out and you got no problem, right? Man, you got to have some kind of game. You got to have some good looks. You got to have something going for you. Excuse me, I've got to shift around. My back is starting to ache. Oh, and if I have to get up and go over, and we are taking in a stray cat tonight. This is the first night I let him in the house because it's going to be 19 degrees here in North Carolina. So let me know if you guys want to see the stray cat. I'll take him over, take the camera over there later and show you guys. Mr. Handsome, hey man, do you have high blood pressure? Do I look like I have high blood pressure? I don't. I'm the picture of health. How dare you, sir? How dare you? But yes, when I'm in pain, I do have high blood pressure, but I don't. I'm not, it's not bad enough to take medicine for. City by the Bay. There are three things that destroy men: finances, drugs, and women. Yep, women can lead to drugs and bad finances. Yes, lust is the root of it all. It is, and people don't understand that because why do we want money? Yeah, we want things. We want nice things. Why do we want those nice things? To impress women. We do. And women, a lot of times they want the same similar things, I guess, the comforts in life. You absolutely want the comforts in life. But those comforts, they get old quick when you have them. They really do. Because is little comfort the poorest people in especially in America right now, most of them have more comforts than royalty had 100 years ago. Think about that. You live in the South, especially. Royalty didn't have air conditioning. Let me tell you that. And I know there's some people that are poor enough. Believe me, my wife grew up in poor Appalachia. Okay. And I spent a lot of time up there with a lot of those people up there. She grew up with no running water. They had to go out and use an outhouse. And I didn't grow up like that, but I went and lived in places where I was living in my car for a while, and I just had, we had a place where we went that was an old farmhouse that my great grandfather had built, and it was a place I lived for a lot of the summer, and it didn't have indoor plumbing either, so you had to go pump it at the well to get some drinking water, boil it. And I mean, it was fun though. It was fun. The people had more purpose, is what I'm saying. Look at who some of the people who have the most meaning in their life now, and it's really an odd group. It is the Amish people. The Amish people. And I'm not saying that we should all live like the Amish because I think that their idea of shunning all technology is wrong, but it does bring them purpose in life. It does bring them a simplicity in life where the profound part of their lives are fulfilled by God. But see, I don't know. I haven't really dug deep in. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna dig deeper into their actual religious beliefs. I know they're Christians, obviously, but I want to dig deeper into what they believe about Christianity. Because I've lived around a lot of Amish people too in my life, but I haven't really. I heard some Amish people were actually watching my channel at one point, and I don't know if they still are. If you are, oh man, thank you for watching. That's great. That's awesome. But it's just like, what do you mean Amish people are watching my channel? That doesn't make any sense. And I forget how I found this out, but apparently they're allowed to watch like stuff on people's phones and stuff. They just can't have their own phones. So they just take other people's phones, like if they're in a construction job or something, and they'll just watch the other people who are not Amish people, the English people's phones. Let's see here. Dakota Miller, don't forget about the Fourth by the Bay men destroy themselves. Uh, okay. You're talking to City by the Bay. Um, yeah. Men do destroy themselves. Men destroy themselves absolutely because I don't. It's sad right now. It's kind of like a race between who is ending their lives more. It used to be men overwhelmingly, and since COVID time, women have started ending their lives like crazy. And having a child who was in um, kindergarten and first grade when the lockdowns happened, it stunted her socializing. It stunted. She has horrible social anxiety now. I've been working with her for years, but it's awful what they did to these children, what they did to the world. They Now for me, the lockdowns were the greatest thing to ever happen. I was like, man, because obviously, I told you I'm disabled, so it didn't really matter to me. But for me, I was like, I'm taking this time, and I was spending more time with the family because we were all obviously at home all the time then. I was taking the girls out to the outdoors things and just having a great old time. And I really am getting closer to the point where I'm thinking I'm going to start homeschooling them. I really am, but it doesn't change the fact that they destroyed entire generations. They're behind like a year and a half at least. The kids who were very young, they can't even. I don't think they understood how bad it was for their teachers and them to be all forced to wear masks all the time, and to not be able to see the facial expressions, to not be able to have a more regular conversation with somebody, and those children can't grasp that concept. And those masks did nothing. In fact, they made things worse. But that's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into that. I'm sorry. Jared K, man, what are you talking to a troll for? Who was I talking? I talk to trolls all the time. I love trolls, except for the ones that were trying to get me to say like racist things or something by like making their names into something racist. Yeah, those are the ones that just got to go for sure. City by the Bay, that too, Dakota. But I see too many men allow women to ruin them. Yeah, but we got to take responsibility for ourselves. We do. We got to take responsibility for ourselves. All of us do, and none of us do that anymore. I say none. I mean, in general, so few people do that anymore. Um, B Patrol, ever go to my cousin's favorite game? No, sorry, B Patrol. Uh, Mr. Gaggins, hello, hello. um, Hog, take that popcorn ceiling down. Sorry. That's a 1995 specialty right there. I'm not touching that. It's probably dirty. I don't know. Actually, my wife cleans it pretty good. Um, Pierre Irick, read Romans 8:38-39. I will. I was checking to see if it was one of the ones I had printed out there, but I will get to that later. Can you tell us what it's about, Pierre? Because I'm telling you guys, if you don't, especially if you're not a Christian and you don't know, because you think Christians are dumb and you think it's the Apostle Paul, who wrote about 3/5 of the New Testament, was one of the most intellectual, deeply spiritual men you will ever encounter. Like he's on the level of the great. He was a Stoic kind of growing up, and he was a Jew because that's what Jesus was. He was a Jew, but his Stoicism almost played more of a part in it than his Judaism did, and it is profound the how that was kind of a precursor to the Christian faith, to the actual religion of Christianity. And we are so far from what was originally intended in most places of how we worship and how we even think about Christ. We think he's some sissified male model looking. It's the Italian male model, right? You see all the Jesus statues everywhere. The Italian male model with blue eyes. He was not an attractive guy because physical attraction is not what he was pushing. He didn't want physical attraction. The attraction came from the inside. The attraction came from he was deeply, deeply spiritual. Poofy, how we looking? How am I looking? I'm not looking too good, but hopefully you are, Poofy. The raging hemorrhoid. You can be a good person without religion. I'm not saying you can't be a good person without religion. And I'm not saying that I want religion at all. What I'm saying is a deep, intimate relationship with Christ is the foundation that will save you in your darkest times. There is nothing else. There is no religion that gives you what Christ gives you. There is not. I don't care what you think you know about any religion. I've studied all the main ones extensively, and I've studied a lot of the minor religions, faiths, and spiritualities because, as I said earlier, I did not want to be a Christian because I bought into the lies told about Christianity over and over and over again throughout the 90s, throughout the early 2000s. You had all the Gnostic Gospels being propped up in the Dan Brown books. Dan Brown was this author, and there was some Tom Hanks movies called The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. And they said it was basically all a lie. That basically the whole Bible had been changed and everything. But anyway, so I bought into the whole Bible had been changed and we weren't even getting the right story. So I rejected it. I love the moral teachings of Christ, the very basics I understood. I didn't even understand what Christ was, that he was actually God. You see, the whole concept is we have the creator of the universe, right? The unknown, unseen God, who we can't figure out because he is outside of time and space. So how could you possibly know anything about God? You have religions that worship him and that are based around that worship. You have other religions like Eastern religions that kind of divorce themselves from the idea of even knowing the unknown, unseen God, and they just kind of are like into meditation and it's like all about reincarnation and this finding spirituality, but it's not even close to what Christ gives you, even in a deeply spiritual sense. Christ came, he is God himself. He is God. He came down and was born as a man to a virgin. He came and he was a poor carpenter coming to the poor, the weak, and the oppressed, not the royalty, not the kings and queens, where he could have gone and been like, I am God, you did whatever I say, decree it to everyone. No, he came as a humble, suffering servant God. And that is profound. And his life teaches us every single thing we need to know about how to live our lives, even in today's society. It really does. Every single thing. And the reason he came to the poor, the weak, the oppressed was because they were the ones When you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. They were the ones who were able to deny their flesh easily, deny their desires. They didn't have a bunch of money, so they didn't worship their money. They didn't have fame or power. Often they didn't have beauty, so they didn't worship any of those things. They were humble, simple people, and he lifted them up and gave them the more profound meaning than has ever been in the world. That you look at every single religion and you think if you're like me, I thought the Eastern religions were the ones that were like, whoa, like when I was smoking pot, I was like, oh man, the Buddhists, they have it figured out, man. Like they're so peaceful and like they just meditate for 12 hours and escape the world, escape their lives, and they're having out of body experiences. Man, it is so much more than that. You have the spiritual element to Christ, and it's what people don't think because you see how other Christians portray Christianity, and they do not. Most of them are. They don't understand the Bible. They don't understand what Christ was teaching. They don't understand anything about it except for how to use the scriptures as a bludgeon to beat people over the head with and to make them do what they want. And like, no, that's not right because the Bible says so right there. And it is about so much more than that. And I just beg all of you to go out. Don't even start with the Bible. Don't even start with that. Go out if you are genuinely want to know him, to know God. Go out and talk into a place like the forest or some place in nature. Or if you can't get out into nature, go into a room with no distractions. Make sure you don't have your pets, your family, your friends. Turn your phone off and talk to him and tell him, I want to know you, but I can't get past my doubts. I just want to know your nature. And if you show me, I will follow you. If you just show me. Again, that's what I did. And I told you, not even 10 minutes later, a white-tailed doe comes running out. And that's not even close to the only time he's spoken to me since then. He talks to me every single day. Sometimes it's something subtle. Sometimes it's something profound. You know, sometimes it's so profound, it brings tears to my eyes. And a lot of times he'll speak in different ways, dreams, visions, thoughts, through nature, through art, and through the scriptures, through the Bible. He speaks to us the closest. He lets us know. You cannot know someone at all. When you have a relationship with someone, you have to open up to them and they have to open up to you. And if you do not, you have a shallow relationship and it's bound to not last. That's what many Christians that you see, especially young Christians, they burn bright for Jesus and then all of a sudden they're atheists because they didn't have that deeper connection. They didn't have that deeper understanding and the experience that comes with age. It plays a big part in it too, but it's not the only thing. If you suffer in life, suffering leads to salvation. It will lead you exactly to the feet of Christ, who suffered the suffering God. He was there for us to connect with him through his suffering. City by the Bay. Have you ever heard of Pascal's wager? That's how I live my life. I've never heard of that. No, I'm going to have to look that up, though. I'll write it down. I have so many things still. Is it what is that? I don't know. Is that a man or is that like a pastor or? Joko, I mean, amen. That is Satan's lie. Jesus Christ is Lord. Absolutely. Amen, Joko. Amen. Satan will, whether you want to believe in that or not, there are manipulations, there are spiritual happenings around you that you don't understand and you can't understand. Your your desires and your emotions are tricked by them all the time. It's called spiritual warfare. And again, I think of how I didn't like a lot of Christians and how they turned me off to Christianity from a young age, and them saying, "Oh no!" Like, you remember the movie The Water Boy? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. And everything was the devil to Bobby Boucher's mom. You know, there were some Cajuns down there. It was an Adam Sandler movie. It's like I think one time he's like, Abraham Lincoln is the devil. The medulla oblongata, medulla oblongata is the devil. Everything was the devil, and that's not. I don't want to sound like that, but the devil is. You can think of it as a metaphorical thing or a real thing. It is a force that manipulates you. That manipulates you, and our sin is attuned to that darkness. It follows that. It craves it. The devil knows us better than we know ourselves. He does. He knows our name. Inappropriate laughter. I'll much love, man, but you always 50 minutes behind. I know. I know. I know. I'm so sorry. Inappropriate laughter. I'm gonna skip over a couple. I'm sorry if I skipped you. Here, I'll go to Angela Michelle. God bless you. God bless you, Angela. It's great to see you. I'm gonna speed read now. All right. Robbie H. That's not true. I was so proud of my best friend when he stopped drinking. That's great. That's great. I think capitalism has taught us to worship money and call it God. It's true. Capitalism has, but capitalism is not the problem. Socialism is even worse. Communism is even worse than that. Capitalism is the best with what we got, but crony capitalism is absolutely awful. Um, let's see. Bill Gorman, Trump has robot guard dogs now. Oh, does he? Oh, that's right. Elon, because Elon doesn't have the guard dog. I think it was like he he needs it, man, because they're going to try to do anything they can. They're exposing some people, man. I don't know how he's going to get away with this, but if he does, that's going to be amazing. With exposing all these people, I mean. Jesus was a lefty, Dylan. No, Jesus was not a lefty. Jesus is not left or right by today's standards. Absolutely not. Uh, Purple Russian. What's up, Pops? Hey, what's up, Purple Russian? Mike Bynum. If you had as many people trying to kill you as he does, you would have robot dogs as well. Yeah, exactly. Bill, I knew a guy that would go in 7-Eleven, grab a couple eggs from the cooler, put them in the microwave for 5 minutes, and he'd leave the store and watch the clerk surprised when they explode. Sounds like something I would have done for real, man. Like, oh man, that's just so wrong. Poor 7-Eleven clerks, right? But it'd be funny to watch, though. It would be. Alpha Omega Draxus. That's a waste of eggs. I don't know if you think about it, you get some entertainment out of it, right? Chosen. I can't read that name. Dylan Drew. Small town equals inbred. Okay, Dylan. Bill Gorman. I knew an actress that lit Telly's Savalas on fire in Rio Grande. Oh, that Bill. I just I literally I subscribed to you last night, but I haven't been able to watch many of your stories. But I am interested in getting into some of your videos for sure. It's good to see you here, brother. Alpha Omega Draxus. I feel like as humans, we've made dating way harder than it should be, and we don't even trust each other anymore as far as man and woman goes. Yeah, we are, because our society is so corrupt now. It is so fallen. We have no moral standards, because any kind of moral standards is like, how dare you legislate morality? That's what I keep hearing about. Remember they kept talking about Project 2025 or something, as I think is what it's called. as the Christian nationalism was going to take over, and they're legislating morality. What are you supposed to legislate again? You legislate, oh, so it's okay to legislate your morality, just not Christian morality. I got it. That's what it is. And Christians always give in, always. They never stand up because they think Christianity is about being a pushover. They do. And they are always guilted, and because they're called bigots, they're called racists, they're called whatever name they're going to throw at them, and they give in. It's absolutely disturbing. And you do not use violence, you do not use vengeance, you do not use that's what I'm saying. But you do not back down from a truth claim. You do not back down from the truth. If you do that, you will lose, and the country will end up just like it pretty much has now. What's my favorite type of beans? Oh man, what baked beans? I guess. Green beans. I don't know what. Let's see. That's a tough one because it depends on what I'm eating. Beans are a accessory to things, right? The beans in the chili, kidney beans. Bill Gorman. I was driving through Wyoming in a live stream panel on YouTube, telling the other that they were just a figment of my imagination and weren't real when an antelope crossed the highway in front of me. Oh man, that is crazy. Oh man. You have that one on? Is that on one of your live streams there, Bill? Can I go on your channel to watch that? I'd like to see that. I mean, at least see your reaction when that happens. LARP, would it be okay to get paid in beans? Call it a vocation. Beans. Oh man, Bill Gorman. Wind cries. It doesn't howl. It was howling that day. The wind cries Mary. Haven't you never heard the Bob Dylan great song? Two riders were approaching. The wind began to howl. Sorry, that comes before. The wind does cry Mary, but he was covering. He was famous for covering the Bob Dylan song. Oh, Jimmy. LARP, sorry about the bean questions. My bad. Hey, you're passionate about beans. I get it. It's good to be passionate about something. Bill Gorman, they called the wind Mariah. LARP, just like them, and I just like them, and somehow they always make their way into the combo when they shouldn't. Hey, exactly. I understand. I'm just here for the ride. Go with LARP. You remind me of me for some reason. It's something I would get. I would just go on and just sometimes, like, I wouldn't do it a lot, but just troll people like that, like just talking about just random stuff. I like random stuff. It's funny. Farmer, I could see you as a power. Oh Jesus. Do you hate beans? Nope. I'm pro bean. Rare breed. You like rap? Very, very little rap. I mean, some of the old school was okay. I actually, there's this Dax, I guess. And again, I don't listen to much rap, but he does some powerful, powerful songs. I wish I could remember the one. It's like about him, questioning everything about God, and then he's just going through this struggle of faith. These lamentations, and I really like that. I'm getting the feeling you really hate beans. Not seeing a beans not list. Bill Gorman, Mr. Potato Head. I do look like Mr. Potato Head a little bit, probably. Lust. Oh, there you go. Not seeing a bean. I'm seeing beans, not lust. Oh. It's better to have beans than lust, I guess, right? Ryan, follower of Christ. God bless you and your family and healing, blessings, abundance, protection, mind, body, spirit, whole armor of God, holy fire, the protection of Jesus. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. God bless you, Ryan. Yeah, the whole armor of God is absolutely mandatory once you've been born again, because you will be beat down if you don't have that protection, for sure. You will. Everything else will devour you. Again, I said David Foster Wallace, the atheist, said it best. And sadly, he could not follow his own advice. He could not, I guess, make himself even go out and try to believe, try to have a relationship with God. And he took his own life about 5 weeks after that was written, I believe. Rare breed, look up Pete and Bass. Okay, I'll look that up. Another thing to write down. Okay. Thank you, Rare Breed. Okay. LARP. Bill Gorman, my church is called Lust for Living Universe Spirit Temple. The lust is a lust for living life. Yeah, I mean that's interesting for sure. The spirit is the electromagnetic forces that hold your brain and meet together. That's the kind of the first I've heard about that, but I'm still interested in watching your videos though. I won't necessarily. I love watching people, even if I disagree with them, because I see a different perspective, you know. And the spirituality movement, Bill, we are cosmic energy connected to the entire universe. Well, I mean, you're kind of getting into the New Age spirituality thing there. That's like, and believe me, I was there. When I was first saved. That's one of the first places God took me to. And I was like, okay. And then I just started seeing how, no, I mean, I started seeing how there wasn't the truth of what my salvation was in New Age spirituality. It was all about, let's manifest our reality because we are all gods. We all can manifest what we need. And, you know, we want this new job, we'll manifest it into happening. We want the money, we'll manifest it into happening. And that is dangerous. And people don't think anything of it because they're like, oh, well, I don't believe in God anyway, so I might as well be my own God. I'm telling you, it is dangerous. It really is. Angela Michelle, Amish and Mennonites are similar. They are both Anabaptist in doctrine. Overall, I would say that they try to live out the New Testament literally. Yeah, and I'm very interested in them because I'm interested more in their, like, the deeper into their doctrines. You know, I know that they shun technology because we are supposed to shun things of this world. But it's kind of like getting into almost Gnostic type things where not Gnostics, they think that the flesh is completely evil. It's completely evil, that we are not free until we are dead, until we are free of the flesh, until we are spiritual beings completely, which is not what Christ was teaching. Christ was teaching that the flesh does lead us to evil and the flesh is corrupt. But we have to live in this world, so we have to have the spirit overcome the flesh. I go to a church that is Anabaptist in doctrine. I was raised Southern Baptist, though. Oh, that's great, Angela. I'd like to hear more about that. Some of the differences would be modesty in clothing, head covering based on 1 Corinthians chapter 11, not going to war, that's great. Literally loving your neighbor as yourself, no divorce and remarriage, etc. Yeah, they allow divorce when there's an abusive husband or or if there's, if the, because I do believe that the scriptures say that you're allowed to divorce if there is abuse, or if there is, or not even, I don't even know if it was abuse. It was if they were unfaithful to you. But I'm interested in that too. But thank you for telling me that, Angela. Uh, Bill, my mother came from a Mormon family. My dad's dad was a heavy duty Jehovah's Witness. Oh, okay. So that's like two different religions right there for sure that are I'm not gonna, they have very different views on, I know the Joseph Smith, the Mormonism, and then Jehovah's Witness. I know they seem to take the worst of Christianity, and then they have like a, what are they, isn't it like, which one has, no, I think it's Mormonism that has like a multiverse type thing, like God, it's like a polytheistic thing because God is not the eternal God. It's like God has a creator, so it keeps going on through eternity. Like God has a God that creates him, and it's eternal. But I don't know. I need to get deeper into that because neither one of those I studied too hard, because neither one of them really enticed me as much as. Not saying that I did study Islam, but I studied Islam when I was younger because I was more into politics and we were going to war with basically Islam. Um, DJ Hard Knocks, you need both. Let's see. DJ Hard Knocks, be humble enough to let Jesus in your life and be good to your neighbors. Yes, yes. Amen. Yeah, but it's not. It's more than just being humble. I say you have to be broken. You have to suffer, because if you're just humbled, yeah, being humble. I guess it's like an extreme humbling. But if you're just humbled, it's not the same as down in the dirt, hitting rock bottom, just broken. And that's why they say, like, the grain of wheat falls from the plant, from the stalk, and it goes to the ground and it dies. It has to die before it grows anew, and it is able to grow into that new producing fruit, producing good fruit. It has to die. You have to die before you die to be born again, is what it boils down to. And to be able to do that, to have a spiritual death like that, you have to finally be sick of the things in your life betraying you, whether it is money, fame, beauty, relationships, all of it, even the loving things. You have to understand these things are finite. God is the only true north, the only universal constant, the only moral compass. You'll have to excuse me. My nose is like completely stopped up too. So I'll do a couple more minutes on here. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can. All right. All right. Brian lives. I was raised Catholic. I lost my faith years ago, but I still try to be the best I can. That's great, Brian. Not that you lost your faith, but Catholicism is very different than what Christ teaches. In fact, most denominations are different than what Christ teaches. I tell people, don't start in a church. A church is something you go to later on. Start with just you and God in nature, because nature is the closest we get to him, because that is his creation. We are his creation too, but nature it's still corrupted. Everything's corrupted by man, but nature is the least corrupted. Find a place that is beautiful, that you can go to, that you can just be alone with him and watch for the way he talks to you. If you are genuinely seeking him and you ask him to please show you he will start showing you, but you have to keep an eye out. Even things that like seem insignificant that might catch your eye. Like I passed a tree one time that just caught my eye because it literally had, it's a birch tree, I think, and it has like human looking eyes on them. Like it looks like a human eye. And I was like, wow, that it really caught my eye. And it really, things like this, it will lead you to start thinking about other things. And like, you'll have animals approach you, and you'll have just everything that catches your attention. Take note of it and go home and try to see how it fits in your life, because it takes a while. It's like learning a new language. It takes a while to understand how God speaks to you. But once you figure out how he's speaking to you, he'll start speaking to you through every single part of your life. As I said, dreams, visions, nature, art, and especially the scriptures. The scriptures, I could not even read the Bible until I was saved. I could not read it. I literally could. I read a book, one book a month. That was, and since I was 20 years old. So you do the math. I'm 44 now. I've read one book a month, and I could not understand the words of the Bible, because as soon as I started reading it, it was like ADHD or some kind of learning disability. It just was like gibberish to me. Like I could read the words, like flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. I would understand the words, but they would not come together in my head. And all of a sudden, they started to have layers upon layers of meaning. They started to call to me. He opens up to you in ways you will never understand until you experience it. Brian, I've just become an atheist as I became an adult and studied religion. It sucks not believing anymore. I understand, and the atheism comes because you are turned off, especially if you're in something like Catholicism that just doesn't. And I'm not picking on just Catholicism. There are no churches that I know of that teach that deep connection, that deep personal connection with God. And the Southern Baptists, I go to a Southern Baptist church here now. It's actually a Reformed Baptist, I think, but I've been to a couple different churches around. I'm not a member of any of them. I don't need to go to a church. I go because of my children. But I tell people, don't worry about the church. Don't worry about any of it. The personal connection is all that matters. And then once you feel him talking to you, then go and start reading the Gospels, start reading the New Testament and then the Old Testament, and it will call to you. It will call to you in ways that are so profound. Chill guy, hello. What did I step in, and what are we talking about? Anything you want to, chill guy. I can do maybe another maybe 15, 20 minutes there. And I'm going to try to get through as many as I can. Bill, I thought it was all about getting to go to the afterlife party. That's what I thought it was about too. I think I'll go for reincarnation. Don't want to be a vapor cloud forever drifting around in the clouds. It's not about. Go and watch near-death experiences, and some of these have been scientifically studied. I'll if I remember, I'll try to put it in the description later on this video, I guess. I want to point everyone to how there have been actual, I know UVA, University of Virginia, has studied for over 20 years near-death experiences of people actually experiencing things when they're clinically dead. And they are able to see and hear and feel everything that's happening in a certain place, or they experience, there's one story where this guy is goes through a near death experience, and he he comes back, and he's like, oh, he's talking to his parents, and he's like, get Bill's, and I don't remember the specifics, but I remember he was like, tell Bill's parents I'm so sorry. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, I went to the, he was in the afterlife, and he saw his friend Bill, or whatever his name was. And they're like, what do you mean? He's not dead. Like they call him up, and they're like, how's Bill doing? And they're like, oh, we haven't talked to him for a few days. They found out he was laying dead in his apartment. He had died from like some like sudden like stroke or something. And this guy had went and seen him in the afterlife. He knew he was already there. And it's profound things like this. Like, people experience, this one lady fell off a horse, and she broke her spine, and she was dead for, oh man, I think like a couple minutes. And she was able to hear and see everything that was going on in a barn that was over a mile away from her. And she was telling him in detail everything they were talking about, everything. And they have documented things of like all these nurses and doctors coming out after it became mainstream to actually say it, because they were called nut jobs before. I recommend everyone check out the legitimate NDE stories for sure. Javeed Rashid, hello, Muslim man. He likes a Muslim man like you. Okay. I'm not a Muslim man. Khalid Roman, how much money do I have? Not much. I live right above the poverty line. But God provides for me. I used to be sick about my money situation, sick about it. I paid my mortgage late probably for 13 years, probably almost every single month I was getting a late charge, like at least 6 months out of the year I was paying it late, and then sometimes paying other things like very late, like getting delinquent on things. Since I've been saved, even though I used to do an eBay store, and I've been focusing on this and not that, and I don't make money off of this except for like a tiny little bit. It has been profound. I have not worried once about money. I have not paid one bill late. Somehow, when I need the money, it shows up. Things just changed completely that I can't explain, except for God changed my life. He did. He didn't give me he's not going to make you rich. He's not going to make you powerful. He's not going to give you all your hopes and dreams. But he's going to give you so much more than that. He's going to give you a deeper meaning, and he is going to provide for you. If you commit to following him, he will show you a way. He will make it so you're not struggling to the point where you're like, I can't do this. I have to go and take on like 5 jobs because I'm so poor now. I've been following God. He will provide for you. Okay, tests of the Spirit. They are of Yah. Oh, hello again. Yes, Jesus only saves. Yes. Bill, everything that isn't spiritual is material. Yeah, it is. But there is different, when the Bible speaks of the world, they speak of the world in a couple different ways. They speak of the world, God's creation, which is nature and which is animals and even people. And that is a lot different than man's world. Man's world is corrupt to the core. Technology, all the things that man creates in the moral man's world, it is run by, they said, it is run by Satan. It is run completely by Satan. Satan is the ruler of this world. It is God's creation and God's people, and finding Christ is the only way to overcome that. Now, again, that sounds ridiculous to someone who doesn't really think about it like that. It would have sounded ridiculous to me, but it is exactly how it is once your eyes are opened. Oh, Nikita, Russian. Oh, hello from Russia. Good to see you. Please tell Putin not to press that button. Please. If you have any sway, please tell Putin not to press that button. That might be our end times right there for sure. Jack Ma, hello. How was your Thanksgiving, sir? Hello. It was wonderful. We're still having it. Probably the last time we were eating turkey was tonight, and now we have our stray cat. We took in for the first time tonight because it's 19 degrees, and we've been feeding him, and the dogs have been eating well, all eating turkey all week long. Yeah, I'd like to check that out, Bill. Okay. I'm gonna miss a lot, and I apologize. Okay, I'm gonna read Angela's here because the Anabaptists would not be okay with an abusive spouse, as God's word says. God hates divorce. If the abusive spouse isn't repentant, they would definitely be separated. Remarriage wouldn't be an option. Oh, okay, yeah. They would have to go to. They would hope that a reconciliation would happen. Oh, yeah, that's a little rough right there. But yeah, God's word definitely does say that in those cases that people can get a divorce. But I think the Catholics are the same way. If you get a divorce, if your marriage is annulled, then you can't remarry. But I think that's changed a little bit in the last few years, though. Okay, let's see. Angela, they wouldn't be okay with any type of abuse for that matter. That's good. I just remember the guy who came to the guy who shot up the school in the Amish school. Remember that? It was like years and years ago, like a couple decades ago, I think, and or maybe 15 years ago. And as bad as it was, the Amish community went and because the guy was killed in the process too. The Amish community went to the widow of the killer or to the shooter's house every single day, bringing them food and comforting them. And I was like, how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that to have that forgiveness in your heart? Somebody that just terrorized your community and your children, and you're going to his family and treating them like they're the only ones grieving. It's so beautiful. Sound Faith Channel is really good if you're interested in knowing more about Anabaptist beliefs in a more practical way. Absolutely. Sound Faith Channel. Thank you for that, Angela. And sorry, I got to the bottom. Okay. So I'm caught up now. So I'm gonna do a couple more. But so let me know keep it going if you want. If you want to know something, type it in now because I missed over a lot of them. Okay, this guy is saying he's God. Yeah, we know a lot of people think they're God. Javi or Javi. Hello from Barcelona, España. Hello, Barcelona. Or is it Barcelona? How are you doing, Javi? The one and only Nicole. You're still my favorite Transformer YouTuber. Oh, well, thank you, Nicole. Thank you. I look beautiful, don't I? Angela, yes, that was awful. The shooting. They must have a heart of forgiving, as we all must. And it is that Christ brings that radical love and forgiveness that people don't understand how revolutionary that was too. Not only did Christ let us know how to have an intimate relationship with the God of everything, the creator of the universe, he also let us know how to have that profound love and forgiveness. Uh, Baptism of frequency, blessings. Blessings to you. Thank you for showing up. I'll try to go to some I missed. Oh, you're the. That's right, Angela. I remember. I watched the David Burko. Yeah, yeah. I definitely got into him. I liked his Holy Trinity talk. That was pretty good. Uh, oh, Bill. Let's see who I missed here. Oh, content deleted. Hi, good morning. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. 2:03 a.m. here. How are you doing? Uh Dara J991, how can I get people to think I'm God? I would like to be worshipped in a cult type fashion. Well, I mean, everybody thinks they're God. Most people in society think they're God now, so you fit right in. I don't know what you got to do. Just start a cult. Go read how to start a cult. Contractor 0211, as twilight is more comfortable for the eye, so I hold is falsehood for the common run of people. I'm sorry. Wait. Maybe I missed an earlier one. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all of its contents. Uh, I think it's maybe too late for me to understand that. So, all right. Oh man, Nicole. Oh, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and. Oh, okay. Let me read these last ones for here. Uh, Angela, yes, forgive to forgive is truly demonstrating dying to self. Yes, to forgive is so powerful because it lifts that weight off of us. Think about the anger you would hold towards someone who came in, even their family, who came in and just murdered your children in such a brutal way. And I swear, I like to think that I could have forgiveness in that situation like they did, but I don't know if I could. I really do wish that I could, but people think it's like, oh, you're being a pushover if you're being cowardly if you. That is the least cowardly thing you could possibly do is to forgive someone in a situation that awful. And it is the only way you will be free of the pain because you trust in God. You trust in God even in an awful situation like that. And sometimes awful situations, horrible tragedies that are seem senseless, they happen so the good works of God can be shown through the pain and brokenness and suffering. And that is what is so profound about knowing Christ, was knowing how all of my suffering, and I've had so much of it, has been a gift, not a curse. And I used to think I was cursed every single day. I'd wake up, oh, another curse. I'm broken down on the side of the road. Here's both my vehicles. Oh, my dog died. Oh, this or that. It's nonstop tragedy and trauma. And I just thought either God hates me or he just doesn't care about me or he's not even there at all. Or I am literally cursed. Maybe my family did something or maybe I did something. And I found he showed me the reason for every single bit of my suffering. I had to go through it all to prepare me for what I was going to do next. And this right now, the videos I do, the people I've been able to help, I would not be able to relate to anyone if I wouldn't have been through the same kind of hell that they were in. And I'm not trying to help the people who are living the good life. Yeah, we got it great. We're going out on the boat this weekend. We're going to party. We're going to do this and that. We're just traveling the world. Those people aren't interested. They aren't interested in salvation. They aren't interested in having a higher meaning in life. They're only interested in worshiping what their material goods, their lust, their desires. The people who are broken, the people who are suffering, is who I'm come to try to help, to try to guide them to the only one who can truly help them. And that was Christ. Christ is the only one who can help them. Christian Spitfire, hello. How are you doing? Suffering produces character and endurance. But it's so much more than that, Christian Spitfire. It's so much more than that. It's like a forge that we're being shaped in. We're like a sword being forged in the fires of hell, the hell of our own making. And if we're not forged in it for long enough, then we will just fall apart. Like a brittle, I don't know if you guys have ever watched those sword making things, but man, it is such a complex process. And the ones who aren't good at it, their swords are just brittle, or they're dull, or whatever. You have to be forged and reshaped over and over, just in that fire, and then pounding out with the hammer, and then back in the fire and pounding it out again. And if you're not, you won't be ready. And when that darkness does come, man, you are just going to crumble. You're going to crumble. All right. I love you all so much. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm sorry. It was kind of a rough start. I like I said, I don't really enjoy talking about the lust that much, because I'm seriously, it always gets back to LGBTQ, and I don't ever want to talk about them, but sometimes I'm led to talk about them because it's something that relates to people's salvation and Christianity. But I realize when I start talking about it that anybody who, let's say you're a gay person and I start talking about it, even if I'm not saying, oh, you're a monster because you're gay. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying you're any worse than anybody else or better than anybody else. But it turns them off because that's exactly what has been used against them so long. And it's like a tribal thing. It's like that's my identity. How dare you? How dare you attack my identity? And everything is a tribal thing anymore. It's all about, oh, this is my tribe. You better not speak against it. Or this is my tribe. I'm going to stick with them. Even if they're being psychos, I'm going to stick with them. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to find that higher calling. We have to find that higher meaning in life. Or else it's just going to bring us down to, there are many roads leading to hell. And many of them look so enticing, and many of them are full of desires and comforts. But there's only one road to salvation, and that is the narrow path, and it is treacherous, and it is uninviting. But I'm telling you, it is worth the trek. It is worth it. Good night, Angela. God bless you. Good night, Kristen Spitfire. I love you so much. Hopefully we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Again, I'm watching. My cat's been sleeping over there, so he's doing good so far. I was a little worried about it because I have two dogs, and I had to bring this cat in because, it was way too cold for him out there. But he's doing good so far. We'll see how the rest of the night goes. I'll give you an update tomorrow. I love you all so much. Have a good night.